Now, if you're like me, you were looking for videos on how to install the CBI ditch-like brackets on a 2003 to 2009 Lexus GX470, and you didn't find much. So stay tuned. I'll show you how I installed these brackets on my 2008 GX470. What comes in the box? Basically both brackets, and I see that they've updated this. The driver's side has a D, it's kind of a D, and then they got a P for the passenger side. And it also comes with 4 bolts, I think they're 13 millimeter, and 4 washers. Now when I got these, I thought that they mounted to the bottom of the hood, but they don't. I am happy that these are fixed mounted on top of the hood hinge on the bottom part. There's lots of room between the hinge, the hood hinge, and the fender well itself, right where that is. You have to pull it back in order to install them, but there is plenty of room for it to fit there, and it fits right on top. There's also one bolt you have to access by opening the door and folding down some rubber weather stripping. You'll need an extension for your ratchet. I used a 10-inch extension for this, and it worked fine. So to start this process, you want to remove this plate that's here. I've already removed these bolts, but essentially you've got the one holding on the light. That's going to hold in the fender as well right there. So I just removed it just to be on the safe side. Then you've got one bolt here, and then one bolt right back here in this location as well. So the brackets themselves, or the ditch brackets, are going to actually mount right up under here, but basically there's also another bolt in there, but I showed that earlier. So essentially this you're going to have to pull back. The whole fender kind of moves, and I did kind of dry fit it in there. So essentially we need to remove these 2 bolts right here and support the hood while we're doing that. So I'm going to put a brace in there so we can actually keep it up, but essentially it's going to pop up right behind here. There's also a piece of weather stripping that I removed right on that area. If you can actually see it, I got the light up behind here. So we're going to start with that and see where we get. You don't need to remove the engine cover pieces, but I wanted to make sure that they weren't in the way. So it's your choice. Now when you're trying to remove the bolts on the hood hinge itself, you do need to kind of pry the fender back. I was a bit delicate with this process, but credit to Toyota and Lexus, they make them pretty resilient. So I think that you'd have to manhandle it something fierce to damage it, I think. Okay, so the bolts that it comes with, they're 13 millimeter. So Toyota or Lexus has 12 millimeter bolts here, and then for the upper fender, it's 10 millimeter bolts here. So you need 3 different sets, but FYI, just in case. So essentially this is what we have right here. So not a lot of tolerance up around in that area, and then right here. So I'll go ahead and start putting back these pieces. It looks like I'm stable as far as the hood goes. So I'll do that and then start on that piece. Okay, so this side was a little easier to get off. The fender panel kind of comes off a little bit easier. So there's, you can't really see it, but this back bolt is kind of tricky. So that's the only thing. It's just basically you can't really be afraid to kind of move this thing around a little bit, but it does move. There is a metal pin. Just move my light. Anyway, so on the door panel on this side, the bolt that goes this way, I can't do it because I'm just pulled in my garage here. But there's a little tab. There's a metal tab that secures this to that. If it's on this side, this thing doesn't want to go back, so I had to pop it back this direction. So that's something to keep in mind. But everything else seems to go back on here a little bit. Anyway, Just little caveats there. It's pretty straightforward. The only panic part was that this side of the hood, when I had it supported, the bracket kind of wanted to come up a little bit, so I kind of had to push it back in there. And if you're doing this by yourself, which I probably don't recommend, but if you are, just be aware that, you know, aligning those holes is a little bit more difficult with that. But as long as you have it supported, I had a beam, or had a 2x4. It's actually pretty straightforward. I think it's a little bit easier than I thought it was going to be. So I'm kind of preferring to have these lower ones, even though there's a little bit more disassembly that actually happens. But either way, I'm pretty happy with this. I'll keep putting this back together, and there we go. I want to thank you for checking out my video today. I am interested in making more videos just about my rig, maybe some adventures. Making YouTube videos is hard, so forgive the quality. I hope that it improves over time. If you like this, great. Give me a thumbs up. If you have questions over it, you just leave me a comment. I'll try to circle back around. I have a day job, so this isn't what I do full time. I follow lots of people on YouTube who do, but I do appreciate it. This is Corey with GX4x4. Check in again for new content, more videos, and I'll see you soon.